Jim. Good evening, folks. So, I'm kind of sick. I don't know how long I'll last tonight, but we're going to go until I just can't do it anymore. I'm going to show you how to make this or similar to this, which I'm calling mixed media because I use watercolor, I use an embossing folder, I use paint, I use pencils, and splatter. Hey, Elizabeth. So I'm going to kind of replicate this. I'm going to do it a little bit differently because this was kind of an idea in the works. And so what I found was, is I think I want to put my larger ornament over to the right instead of to the left. So I'm going to start out by drawing my circles on. And all this is just a piece of acetate I punched with my 2.5-inch punch. And I'm just kind of guesstimating where I need things to go. So I'm going to do my main circle. I'm just going to use a pencil, a little mechanical pencil, and draw a circle. And then I'm going to want one back up behind, but not too deep into the forest there. So I'm just going to draw another little piece of a circle. And then I think I want one quite a bit lower. Maybe I want this one to be the frontmost one. I'll make up my mind in a minute, so I'm just going to draw the full circle. And this is just some regular watercolor paper. Yeah, I think I want this one to be frontmost, so I'm just going to grab my eraser and erase pencil marks where I don't want them. Today we are painting, we are making this mixed media card, or painting, or whatever you want to call it. Now this is something I got from the dollar store, and I glued a turntable onto it, or one of those little Lazy Susan things. I'm just going to erase this one pencil mark because I don't want these to be translucent. I want them to be glass. Let's see. Okay. So now I'm going to tape this down with some painter's tape. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? So I'm not doing real good right now physically. So like I said, I'll go as long as I can. And this is the only painter's tape I have. So it's okay if it's a little bit too fat. It matches me. But I do want to tape this down because I want it to stay, relatively flat. Yeah, well, this happens to me about 4 or 5 times a year. And just to say without saying, I sent Mike to the store for some Azo. And these things hit me like a ton of bricks, like out of nowhere. Like I'll be fine 1 hour and the next hour I'll be in excruciating pain. Got a little string caught in there. I don't really want that. Although it probably wouldn't be horrible. I don't really want that. Get out of there. Well, that's a big string. Thanks. I'm gonna start some medication. I keep a reserve until I can get to the doctor because I've had these things go out of control in a hot minute and been in the hospital from it. So I don't mess around. I don't mess around. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. Oh, the joys of being a girl. Okay. I'm going to start with my frontmost one, and I'm going to do that one in this blue right here. Let's go ahead and get my paints wet. I'm going to grab my fatty brush right here. I'm going to get this whole thing wet and pretty wet. So if I'm a little shaky, it's because I'm cold. I had my heater on, but I turned it off because it works really well. I've got a little space heater next to me. So I'm getting this plenty wet. I hope you can see because my brush isn't exactly 100% clean, but it's clean enough. It's clean enough where I can see the water and it's not really going to impact the color much. Oops, better pay attention there. I thought this turntable would be a good idea, but maybe it's not. But it makes it easier for me to turn this as needed. So lots of water, ton of it. And I'm going to dip into my paint. And I meant to do a smaller paintbrush, but this will work. And I'm just going to come around, just tapping it in around the edges. It makes a pretty neat painterly look. I've been watching people do this, and I've always wanted to try it, so that's what I did today. And I thought, you know what, I think I'll just share this. Because it's a pretty neat look. That's not very wet right there, but that's okay. So this isn't like expensive watercolor paper. So it's not going to behave like the expensive stuff. This is just the El Cheapo. I'm just carefully coming around that circle. And I'll probably mess up, and that's okay. See, I've got water pooling up over here, but it's still staying within my line there, so I'm not mad. I'm going to get my brush wet, kind of dry it off, wet it again, and I'm just going to kind of move this in towards the center, leaving a good white chunk, and I want my white area over here. I'm not going to try and darken that anymore. I'm going to dry it now. Yes, they are. They're the Ganzi Tombi, or Tambi Ganzi, or I don't know, you know. Hey, Reagan. It's okay. I've been planning on this. I'm okay for now, so we'll be fine. You don't want to move on to your next ornament or circle until your first circle is dry. At least around the edges. And it doesn't take long to dry. This little tool. Okay, now I'm going to do... Now this one I did in red, and I really didn't love the red, so that's why I'm not doing it in red now. I'm going to do this one in kind of an aqua color. I'm just going to make sure no water drips from the barrel of this thing. And if you weren't trying to be careful, you should go a lot quicker, but I'm trying to be careful. Tiny little spot there. Yeah, accidentally muffed up, but that's okay because this one I'm doing in an aqua, so it'll be fine. Okay. Grab my smaller brush. Yep, that's it exactly. I wouldn't know either how expensive watercolor works because I've never bought any and I probably never will. You know, because it's not what I do. If it's something that I did, you know, like as a rule, as a habit, as a daily thing, then I would certainly make the investment. But since I only do this for fun once in a while, I don't see the point in spending. So we're just letting this color come in. It's going all by itself, mostly. I need to move that water a little bit, so I'm going to. I'm just going to tip my little thing a little. Bring in this color over here. Okay, so I need to clear off a little bit of that water. There's a little bit too much here, and it's starting to muddy up. So I'm just going to kind of clean it off. Go straight in here. I'll define that line later after this dries. Okay, and then next I'm going to do this sort of a blue-green down here. I'm just going to let that kind of bleed together and do its thing while I work down here. Oops, I splashed. That's what I don't want to do. So I get quiet when I'm focused. Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely watercolor is fun. It's fun and it's exciting because I mean, especially if you're like me and you don't really know what you're doing. You know, you're just copying what somebody else did. So, but it helps you get the practice to know how your paper reacts and how your water reacts and how your paint reacts because everybody has different kinds of paint, I'm sure. I love how paint scoots with watercolor paint scoots with water, though. It's so cool. Okay, so I want my light kind of more over here. Kind of fill that in. Clear off my brush a little and see if I can clean this up at all. I'm gonna have to dry it and get it to clean up better, but that's better. That's a little better. Golly, you guys, Christmas is coming quick, isn't it? Is it Thursday? Christmas on Thursday or Friday? I have no idea. Let's see, Tuesday's the 23rd, so Wednesday's 24th. No, Thursday. Okay. So there's a good likelihood I won't be live next Thursday. You have an embarrassing amount of watercolors? I do not. I have a few. So this is just layer one, friends. This is just layer one. Here's one thing I've noticed about this watercolor paint is it's shiny when it's in thick layers. It gets very, very shiny. Not too worried about that bottom part. It can kind of dry on its own. I'm going to go back to the blue one here. I'm going to grab the smaller brush. I'm not going to re-wet it. I may have to re-wet my paint though. I'm going to come around and I'm going to define these lines a little better. Where it kind of broke up. Oh, that bamboo is warm. I'm really liking this on the turntable as long as my paints don't get in my way. I'm just going to blend it out. This is a favorite blue of mine. I know you guys don't think of me as a blue person, but I really do love blue. Needs a little extra help right there. There we go. That's what I want to clean up right there, is that heavy line. Yeah, you're exactly right. Oh yeah, do many layers. If it's probably better if you go light and do several layers versus, you know, trying to get it dark. And see, this paper can't be trusted. It will pill. So when it tells you you're done working with water, stop working with water. I like the look. I'm good with it. All right, let's come back into this one here. It doesn't need a lot of help. It's looking pretty good the way it is. But I do want to create a shadow on here, so I am going to come in, you know, heavy right here to create the shadow from this other ball. And that's where I keep screwing up, is I keep touching the other ball while it's wet. Blend that shadow down. Blend that in so it's a little better. And I'll probably use pencils to shade that more. I'm not exactly sure I like the way I have the light there, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. Let's do, soften that up a bit. Make it a little bigger. Although, the tricky part is the tree is going there, so it really actually needs more light over here, doesn't it? Okay, no problem. So what I want to do with this bottom one is I want a little bit of less depth right here. So I am going to give it a stern talking to. And try and get as neatly as I can around that edge. And then I want a little bit more depth right here. To delineate it from the little blue guy. And I couldn't tell you much about the brushes I'm using. They are Zooting. I don't know. I probably got them on Amazon. Again, I didn't want to make expensive investments in something that I don't do that often. Blend you out here a bit. Okay, I'm good with that. Give it a dry, and then it's going into the embossing folder. I think I need to trim it a little before I even do that. Sometimes this stuff looks wet and it's not. It's a little sticky still, though. There we go. I don't want it sticky. Thank you, Reagan. Get you out of the way. Now, where's my trash can? There it is. We're not done painting, but I can't, I mean, I probably could freehand that, but I don't want to. So first I want to trim this down. Because when I cut my watercolor, it's 6 by 4.5. So I want to make it 5.5 by 4.25, and then I'll be trimming it down a little bit more even after that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to wet the back side of this, just damp. I'm going to lay this in the embossing folder, and I'm going to have to take it over to my Vagabond. So By the way, whoever bought me, you know what? I think I want it over a little bit. Somebody sent me, it came from Anna Griffin, but it is magnetic plates and cutting plates for my mini Empress. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. 3D embossing folder, so you go back and forth 3 times. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be using a different shade of green here. And I'm going to want, I need something to mix on. I think I'll just use that little thing. So I'm going to come in. This probably needs to get wet again. And I'm going to go wet to dry now. And I'm just going to start kind of laying over, roughly over these embossed needles. This is going to be a couple of layers as well, so just keep that in mind. And you know, I may add more needles as I see fit. Super easy to do. And I mean, this is a guide for you. You can actually see everything that you need to see. Now, I don't know what happened there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not. Typically, the branches of these should be brown, but I didn't, so there. I'm just filling in this background layer. Hey, Christy. Hi, Delina. So I can see that this one comes all the way out here. So I'm going to go ahead and follow its little branches or its little needles. Filling it in. Need a little bit more water here. That thing is getting on my nerve. This one comes all the way over here. Here you're basically just going over the color you made, which is why you want to make sure that it's dry. Still got quite a bit of paint here. here so I can just spread that out. So it's fun to kind of use those embossed areas or those debossed areas or whatever to have as a guideline and still add that extra texture to your project. That's a little bit on the wet, gushy side. It's okay. Okay, dry it. Well, it's kind of neat because it sort of sinks in. Well, you'll see as it's drying, it actually looks brighter on my screen than it does in real life. All right, you're getting on my nerves. Get out of my way. Okay, now I want my background to be the same green, only I want it to be much wetter. So I'm just going to come in and use a lot of water. I got too much water, too much water. Just fill those in. Okay, now to fill these in. I'm not dipping at all, I'm just kind of going over it with my wet brush. I'm just making sure that I have all the white covered. And if it's too dark in some areas, I'll just kind of clean it up. Oops, look at that. That's no bueno. No good, T. Watch what you're doing. I don't mind if there's water spots on it. I like the look of it, but you know, it does need to be kind of uniform in color. Okay, we got just this sweet little spot right here. Get in there. Okay. So there's where we are so far. Well, that looks really yellow on camera, but it is quite green. Now I have here, what I want to do is I want to blend this green. Okay, I'm going to pull some of this green here. And then I'm going to come in with this skinnier brush. Oh, way to go, Idaho. And I'm going to pull in, no, not that blue, this blue, which is indigo. That should be plenty. Not, I'll make more. Thanks, Delina. Thank you, Reagan. So now what I want to do is I want to create some more depth within these. So I'm just very lightly coming in and adding more depth. And I want it to come out some more. Super easy, right? Oh yeah, I know. Well, I'm impatient too, so I understand. So now you can see that I'm taking liberty and putting bushy things wherever I want them, but I'm still kind of staying within the embossed image. Just adding that little bit of depth. I should have left that on my turntable. With the darker, you know, the blue mixed with the green. I mean, and if you can, if you're real careful, you can just hit the tops of the embossed part to really give it some depth. But I especially want to give it added depth around where it's coming over the ornaments. So that I can sort of blend the two together so you don't see the line of the ornament very well. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. I don't know about that, but so what I can do here is I can kind of work this and just get it extra dark right there. And because I'm using a thinner tip brush, I can get more defined little pine needles, I guess. And that's how your tree is going to look. It's going to be light and dark. Oops, I made a blob there. Sometimes you make blobs. We did that on purpose. I know about the shaking hands too, which is no fun. Because I've seen some artwork that I just absolutely adore, and I know there's no way I could do that with these long, the brush part of the brush is like this long, and they're doing perfectly thin, tiny, straight lines. I'm like, how? But then again, I haven't tried to practice it, so because I'm scared. Scared. Okay. I know this is taking forever, you guys. I'm sorry. Probably should have picked something easier. This is one of my all-time favorite embossing folders, by the way. It's just so... See, they're a little more sparse over here. the heaviness is not heavy. Oh, I'm sticking to it. Oh, Tannenbaum, Tannenbaum. You guys ever hear that Nat King Cole version? The intent is to hold lots of water with a very fine tip so long straight lines are easier. Okay. All right. Bye, Jim. Have a good weekend. Okay, a few more, and then I'm going to move on to the next step because I'm going to have to go here pretty soon, but I'd like to get as much done as possible. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a white pencil. This is my Castle Arts pencil. I can't find my other ones. I don't know what I've done with them. And I'm going to come to this white part. You see where the paint is all blueberry? I'm going to really come over this with my white pencil and sort of smooth it out. And just brighten up this portion of this Christmas ball. Just lighten it up. Come in the same here and just sort of fill out that line. And just fill this in a little bit with some of this white. I'm not making a huge effort here, friends. Not at all. I really need to kind of calm that down right there because I came a little bit far down with my shadow. Calm you down a bit. Simmer down now. Rearranging your living room. Oh boy. Oh, you should not be driving with dilated eyes, girl. Okay, next step. I have here my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. It is very thick. So I want to clear this off because I don't need that anymore. Because we're not doing a masterpiece, just a little card. I'm going to take my skinniest brush. I'm going to throw a little on my mat here. And then I'm going to throw a little water with it, mix it up. And I'm going to draw some shapes. Because I'm using the bleed proof white, it'll be pure white. I can't wait until somebody tells me I can get my eyes done. I know they need it. I hate it because a lot of movies now, you know what they do? They have people texting each other. I can't see what the heck the text says without putting on my glasses, which means I have to go find them because I don't wear them to watch TV generally. They get too dirty. Now this isn't going to have a big white chunk in it because I might have just a little bit, just a little square of white right here. Do not leave your brushes in the water, T. That's how I wreck most of my brushes. Okay, give it a dry. Yeah, it's annoying because they obviously are important or they wouldn't show it. Okay, now this is my Stabilo Aquarelle Black. Let's get that out of my way. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to create some shadows here with this black pencil. And then I'll grab my smallest brush here and just sort of blend it out a little bit and try not to mess it up. A little water, soften out that edge. That's not very round, is it? Paint that little shadow. Happy little shadow. It's pretty dark, but it'll lighten up as it dries. Oops, God dang it, Bobby, be careful. Let's see. Oh, you could have it come. No, it doesn't really look good doing that way. And so, but that's just for the inside. For the outside, I'm going to actually use my, this guy, my Stabilo Carbothello and my blending stump. I'm just going to come along this outside edge. I'm not pressing super hard, just pressing lightly. And this is where the mixed media component is, because this is not watercolor. Just blend that out. Give it a little bit of depth. I could have come in with a dark green as well, but I found that for shadows like this, black is best. And just whatever's left on my blending stump, I'll come up here to this one because it's not going to have as deep of a shadow as the frontmost one. And notice I'm making that shadow come into the ball as well as outside of the ball. So there we've given more dimension. And I think with this one, I will come in with a green. I want a green that is pretty close to the green that's going on here. And I need a clean blending stump or semi-clean. I don't get too particular about it. So that's only going to create an outside shadow and not an inside shadow. Because if I want an inside shadow, I should come in with an aqua color. And then there are parts where the, you know, the parts of the tree that kind of overlap with the ornament should have a little bit of shading. I need to simmer that down a little bit. Simmer down now. Thank you so much. I think I want a little bit more darkness around here. No, that's not my black one. A little bit of depth to these guys, and I am going to use the black. Just try not to go in too heavy. So they kind of cast a shadow on the ornament. Oop, I don't like what happened there. A little bit of, let's go with a little bit of shading here and here, here. Yeah, my problem is knowing when to stop. And from right here, I'm just using whatever's on my blending stump. Because there's plenty on there. Okay. So let's get this trimmed to what I want it now. So I'm going to use my decal trimmer. I love, love, love my pastel pencils. They're probably my favorite toy. So I'm going to come down. So I want to go 4. trim that very top. Quarter. Then I have my gold pen. Where did my gold pen go? Here it is. And I'm going to shake it up. And this is just a deco color, liquid gold. Thank you so much. Ah, my silver one, I broke the tip on it. I would preferably use silver here. I don't know why these things are so doggone hard to get off. And then you yank them off and they splatter everywhere. All right. Pliers time. Nope, those pliers aren't going to do it. Where in the world are my... I don't think these will do it either. These are too rusty. Oh, these might. Oh, I just broke the freaking cap. Okay, this pen is done for. Got it off though. Okay, so find the center, whatever that you think it might be, and draw the bobble or the bobble top. I think I want mine to have just color it in. I need new ones of these. I have a chrome one around. I have a bunch of them and they're all together, you know, in their hiding spot. This to kind of match up a little bit better there. And then this is going to be hanging. So I need a little hook. And you're not really going to see the other ones, right? Because they're kind of hidden. You might see a portion of this one. You're not going to see that one at all. That looks a little funky, NASA. That's okay. I'm okay with it. So since I already wrecked my pen, I'm going to do some gold splatters with it. Oh yeah, good idea, Reagan. Kind of late, but before I do that, before I splatter this, I want to add some color here. So I'm going to use my ground espresso, and I'm just going to come around the edges. Because what good is it to decal the edges if you can't see the decal? Decal the halls with boughs of holly. That isn't even funny tea, so shut your mouth. I can see where I splashed water on here on accident too, right there. I don't care. Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. You know what? think I'll do this by hand because every time I do this, what happens is my cat flies off. This little thing flies off and it gets gold everywhere. So I'll just dot it in by hand as if it were splattered. Especially the gold looks really pretty in the branches. Helps them stand out a bit. I don't know why I bothered to put that back on there, but I did. Okay, so I'm going to need a sentiment for this, and I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to do a very simple sentiment. So I think before I do that, let's give this a quick dry. Yeah, I did get a huge blob on this one right there. I don't know if this stuff's flammable or not, but I'm taking my chances. Oops. Stupid microphone came unplugged. My microphone came unplugged. Hopefully you could hear me. Okay, so that's definitely a candidate for a I'm going to need to really tape this sucker down. This other one I glued down, so I think that's what I'll do, and I'll just keep my sentiment flat. Tweezers. Good tidings of great joy. I mean, the decal trimmer does some cool stuff for sure. Okay, glue. I don't want to tape this. I'm about done here. I need to excuse myself. I'm going pretty heavy with the glue. And what this has to do is it has to glue dry for an hour or so. So I'll lay it exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to put something heavy on it, and then something heavy on top of that, and something heavy on top of that. And that's it, friends. I'm good for the day. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out and all your comments and all your kind words. You guys are awesome. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you before then, and a Happy New Year and all the things. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up on your ways out. Take care, everybody. Bye.